I'm a little bit worried about him.
I saw you do a nice,
I'm a little bit worried
nice
about
constructive
him. Yeah, I'm a little bit
It was
worried
lovely,
about him.
Dale.
I think when someone who's been as peaceful and quiet for the last 7 or 8 years, had been almost in some ways perfect for 10 years in terms of his behaviour, and then the last 3-4 months, there's a couple of things happened. I always think, is he all right? What's going on with him? It's one of two things. He's either struggling, or he's thought, I don't give a fuck. It's one of those two things, and I don't think it's that. You know what I mean? I don't know where you're at with it, but he's getting a lot of attention. I mean, that'll have happened in all our dressing rooms where a lad's not turning into training or has come in and.
It's a massive.
It's just on the back of a few other things over the last few months, isn't it? Like the incident he has. He's obviously been drinking for a couple of days, and I think that on his own it's not the end of the world. We've all been there. We've done all that. We've done a lot worse than that.
Yeah, but
you mentioned there, Gary, about he was almost perfect. I never felt for 1 second previously.
We've never heard anything about him, though, have we?
Yeah, true enough. But I don't think he was ever that perfect in the stuff he was doing off the field. And, of course, he gets a lot of credit for that, of course. But I never thought, again, he'd some sort of halo above his head. But I also don't think now for 1 minute he's some sort of nasty, bad lad.
No.
I think he's just certainly made a few mistakes on the very close to each other. The profile of United, the fact United are struggling. He's an easy target. We mentioned the last time when he went out after his birthday. His decision-making at this moment in time is obviously not very good. But he's 26. We've all been there. We've made daft mistakes. I don't think his attitude is of I don't care anymore type of thing about the game. I don't think so.
No.
Listen, we could be wrong, but he just needs to. He needs to stop. Again, he needs to stop. His behaviour is that of an idiot. But I don't think he is. I think he's just making a few mistakes on the back of each other, and he's high profile now. And we see people out there, phones, people want to ring in and get players in trouble. But he's giving people that opportunity, of course, to go after him.
I don't want to make assumptions about exactly what's going on because something's definitely gone.
He's gone out on the Thursday. He's gone over to see his friend playing Ireland on the Thursday in Belfast. I think what's happened is he's obviously, booked his flight back for 7, 8 o'clock. He's obviously had a couple of drinks before that and thought, I'm enjoying myself. I'll put it back to the morning, thinking I'll get into Manchester at 8:30, go to training. He's obviously gone a little bit longer than he should. He's woke up in the morning. He's not felt great. You know what I mean? I think that's what's happened.
You know what? I think, like with me, when you look back at your career, and there's certain things that I missed out on, not through my own fault, not for not trying and stuff like that, and you regret that. You know, one of the things that I hope don't happen for him, and you know what I mean, I say this from a place of love and you know what I mean, for him and care, is you don't waste it, man. Don't waste it simply because we're talking about someone who's come through the United Academy. That's tough. You know, he's constantly in the spotlight. He's one of those where...
And he's a local lad.
Yeah, he's a local lad. He's come through the academy with the pressure that comes with come through the Man United Academy, get into the first team, scores a couple of goals, scores in his debut against us at Arsenal, scores for England. You're thinking, wow, the potential. When you look at the potential of someone like Marcus Rashford, his ceiling could be anywhere. We saw last season what he is capable of doing when he's consistent. But then you look at it, you think to yourself, you can't help but look and think to yourself, well, he's circle. And now he's got a tight circle. He's got a lot of mates that when he was younger. But at some stage, when you look at the drop-off in what's happening to him, we're like, what's happened to Marcus Rashford? Why is he doing this? It's about his inner sanctum to get together.
But to those people, righty, I agree with Roy in that. I don't ever believe he was this saint that he was made out in this inner circle. I think he's done a great job with Marcus in terms of I think there was a lot of PR around him. And listen, that's the way of the world now. It put him as if he was this guy that was almost going to save the world when he's just a young lad from Manchester. He's got a few quid. He's a brilliant footballer. Now and again, he's going to get in a few scrapes. This is one that he's in. But I'm with you. I don't think there's anything worse than seeing someone not fulfil the potential. We've all got different sort of, you're saying how high his ceiling is. When you think of the actual attributes he's got, I mean, the pace, the strike he's got with the right foot. But he is, and I feel for him a little bit because I've always said this for me, Rashford, if Rashford is Manchester United's best player, which I'd probably say he is, or best attacker, I don't think Man United can win anything big. And that's not a criticism of him. I just think they'd probably need someone a level of, he's almost like your second or third guy in that front three, and Man United then can win a league or a Champions League. And I just feel there's that much sort of pressure, there's that much scrutiny on him to be the guy who gets the goals.
Is it too much for him, do you think?
because I don't think he's quite good enough to be the Rooney or, you know, the Andy Cole maybe who got the goals in the treble season, or Dwight York. And because there's nobody else there, you've got Martial, Højlund's still a young kid, there's young kids around him, players who've been brought in are not nowhere near good enough. And he's seen as like, he's Manchester United's guy. And Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, I don't think he's quite good enough to be the main man for Man United.
I don't think he wants to be the main man.
No, I'm not saying that, bro. I just think if Man United had better players around him,
Yeah.
I think we'd look at Rashford, then maybe slightly different.
And I think if United were maybe at the top of the table and they were doing well and they're winning stuff, this stuff would be... I don't think it'd be such profile.
It's worrying
It
out.
is worrying, yeah, but he's 26. He's 26 years of a lot of experience in terms of footballing, as a footballer, but he's 26. My kids are... He's going to make mistakes, and he has to make his own mistakes. And I know there's a lot of people talking about the people around him. It's like years ago when people talk about Gaza. You know, you got to get... These lads are still... They're going to make their own mistakes.
Well, you don't think that 26... At 26...
Do you think they're forcing the drink down him? They're forcing him to go to bed?
No.
He's doing that He's doing that himself.
But I think that 26 is the kind of age, especially what he's been from where he is and what he's capable of doing. Obviously, Man United have got to start getting themselves where, you know, players like probably want to be, winning things again and being at the top of the game like they were. But 26 is an age where you know now. He's got... No, man, you know now. You know, where he wants to be, where he should be going.
The last few months we've been doing this chat and we've been chatting about stuff we've done in our careers, mistakes we made. You've spoken about it, we've all done. And we were all older than 26 when we were doing daft stuff. So what he's done in the last week in terms of going on a bender for 12 hours, let's relax a second. 12 hours. Listen, 12 hours is like a warm-up session. I'm serious, and I'm not playing it down.
No.
He wasn't cautious about
how long? Yeah, but how long is it? We don't know how long this is going on.
Of course we don't know, but it's not as if you look at him every week, whatever about his mindset. We've said, does he look like he's enjoying the game? Obviously not. There's something amiss. We know that. But we played against Spurs 2 weeks ago. And he played some really good stuff, and he was running. It's not as if you were looking at him going, Jesus, I think his legs are gone or whatever. Yeah, there's stuff going on without a doubt. But I think
he's had a few bevies, Annie, and he's thought he's going at a certain time, and a good song's come on. He thought, oh, here we go, I'll have another one.
Hey, one more. Hey, we've all been there.
Do you think he's also looked at it's Newport on Sunday, and actually I can get back to
all that would probably go in the mix, definitely. But a few months ago, remember, obviously we've spoke about here when he was his birthday and he went out. You go, okay. If you look at every incident, or the time I think it was Wolves, he was late for a meeting, the manager punished him. So all these little habits are not good. But if you look at them a one-off stuff, you're not going, Jesus, he's been caught up to all sorts. Yeah. He's doing daft stuff.
The thing this morning, reading the headlines in the newspapers and the stories, it looks like there's a few people, to me, it feels like a few people briefing against him as well, because there are things in there that, you know, his teammates are sick of him, he's distant in the dressing room.
Yeah.
So there's things that have come out this morning that means that there are people either in the dressing room or connected to the dressing room that are giving him a little bit.
Maybe.
So he hasn't got that, you know, sometimes you think about support in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Who this morning is grabbing hold of him in that dressing room and saying, look, come on, sort your shit out, basically.
Yeah.
You know what's right and wrong.
There's manager and the staff there, remember, and listen, family. Because a lot of time people talk about the manager and the club have got to get hold of him, but you're still only about a few hours of your life at the training ground. It's more his families to people around.
Yeah, but this is what I was saying.
But also not being too hard on him. He's been on a drinking session. He was late for training.
So unusual.
Let's get the balance right.
Roy, to hear of a player going on a drinking session in 2024 is quite unusual. I know it wasn't in the day where we played, but today, when was the last time that we actually?
That's true. I get that, but let's get it. Yeah. Let's look at it properly and go.
No.
The few mistakes he's been making, and of course we look at him off the pitch. We've always said, does he look happy in himself? And the answer is probably no. He signed this mega deal. He's earning like crazy money. Football's been good to all of us, but it was never that 300, 400, 500 grand a week. And then it's not one or two cars. It's a set. And then again, I always go back to it. The distractions off the field, losing the hunger, all this stuff, and that comes into it. But I still go back to...
If he was playing well, if this had
happened
happened last season...
Jamie, he played well a couple of weeks ago against Spurs.
No, but what I mean is, in terms of having a great... Last season, at one stage, I mean, he was almost rivaling Haaland. It was almost like the player of the year last year. If this happens last year, there's no doubt, I'm not saying it gets brushed under the carpet, but it's a bit like, you get away with it. It's just because Man United are playing so poorly, and he's having a real poor season as well. I think it blows up even more. I don't think it's the end of the world, but obviously, you know, we know it can't
they've dealt with it, innit? They find him, right? They find him. You know, there's statements come out.
Yeah.
You do want it to kind of like, okay, bam, like you're saying, you know what I mean? It happens. But remember, there's people who want to keep this going. Talking about somebody embarrassed this government, man. These people, he's gone into a world when he's doing all that, the food and everything, feeding. He's gone into a world where he's embarrassed people. Now he's in a situation where it's not going well for him.
He's got to take the flak now, right?
He's got to take it. But this is what I'm saying with the people. He just needs to.
Are you worried about him though, Righty, from a bigger perspective? Or do you think it's just a blip?
At the moment, I'm a little bit worried. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit worried. I'm hoping it's a blip, because like you say, at 26, you can have a blip and then you might have enough time to get it back. But I'm just worried if it doesn't come back.
The penny has to drop from him, of course.
That's the thing. I don't want him to regret.
But you're on about the dressing room lads. But when we done daft stuff in the dressing room, you weren't going into the dressing room. The lads weren't patting you in the back either for going, hey, well done for missing training yesterday. I spoke about me missing training many years ago. It does happen, but...
When did you miss training, Roy?
Remember I told you I came back late one time from... I went up to Nottingham to watch a reserve match. I'd only just come to United, and I came in 4 or 5 hours late. Yeah, traffic. Yeah, but again, but lads weren't patting me on the back. But there was no lads putting their arm around me. You're on about Marcus getting that bit of protection. Sometimes you are on your own. You're 26. You're an experienced player in the dressing room. But there also has to be that balance where you look and go, listen, you've been daft. You've done something silly. You're getting fined. I've often done that. What you hold your hand up and go, listen, I have been an idiot.
I'm more worried about him on the pitch. Yeah, not like, listen, that happens. We've all been there. We can all tell a story.
Usually connected, though, aren't they? When you start making decisions off the pitch like
that,
but
I think but as you said, I don't think it's happened too... I don't see him as like a boozer or a drinker. I don't know if it's a case of... He hasn't actually been in the team, has he really?
I interviewed him in the summer, Cara. He said he has 10 days where he relaxes at the start of the summer, and then after that, he doesn't...
Yeah.
Well, it might be something on the fact that he hasn't actually been in the Man United team, and it's a poor Man United team. He hasn't been playing too often, has he? Of late, he's been a little bit in and out. And I just think maybe a little bit of frustration. He's had a couple of bevies. If I was talking about Marcus Rashford, I'd be talking more about his body language on the pitch. And I said this a few weeks ago. I think as a local player, me and you know, there is something extra, a bit more extra pressure, and sometimes that can engulf you a little bit. But sometimes I want to see him more on the pitch, not scoring goals necessarily, but more being that lead, that sort of taking responsibility, having better body language on the pitch. That's what I'd be more bothered about.
Erik ten Hag's decision is he's got to obviously discipline him to obviously make sure that the rest of the dressing room see it's not right. It's not right. He missed a game at Newport, but also make sure he doesn't end up with a Jadon Sancho situation on his hands where he pushes him away and ends up with a sort of bigger, massive crisis going into the rest of the season. Does he leave him out tonight of the game just as a sort of little message, a little...
Well, the manager's priority is to win the next game of football.
Yeah.
I think move on quickly from it. Yeah. If you think he's going to help Man United get a victory and he's been punished, he's obviously had a fine or whatever...
Play him.
Then you play him if he thinks.
Have you done? Has anyone, when you were a manager, Roy, there will have been someone with a breach of discipline. Yeah. What was your action in those instances?
Well, again, every situation is different. But when I've probably disciplined players who were late, I would move on very quickly with them. If they were out of order, you take the punishment, especially if they were like genuine about it or they were late. It happened a number of times at Sunderland, and I would move on to be back involved in the group. Absolutely, especially if they were good. Bad ones are banished. No. How many times? How long do you punish a player?
Yeah. Not play the best players.
No, they're not. It's a worry, though.
I think it's a worry. I hope it's a blip, but I think it's a worry because if someone's making those decisions that doesn't ordinarily make those decisions, what's going on?
The bigger picture, your worry is for these incidents. Has he gone off? Yeah. Has he lost that? Again, we talk about is a young lad and the pressure and local lad. All that comes into it. But he doesn't look like he's enjoying his football anymore. And all that. I agree. It does go hand in hand, whatever's happening off the pitch and on it. And I look at him and you see him in the warm-up, so when he contributes to a goal, football looks like it's a chore to him. Football looks like a chore, and it shouldn't be. No. Listen, obviously there's pressure with everybody out there, but he's a big player for United. He's shown before he can produce, and he needs to get back. The cars, the watches, all that is great, but don't forget, what comes first? Your football. Good luck with all that other stuff, but if that starts becoming more important than your football, then you are in trouble.